Assalamu alaikum. Today on 16th October 2024, I'm starting lecture number 1 for week number 6, and the topic of today's lecture is differentiation rules. Students, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, why we perform differentiation? Differentiation is actually a measure of rate of change of one variable with respect to other variable. Like in physics, when you calculate rate of change of displacement with respect to time, you get velocity of the particle. Similarly, if you calculate rate of change of velocity with respect to time, then it will be acceleration of the particle. So why we perform differentiation? Because we want to measure that how a variable will change with respect to other variable. So let us start from the first rule. Derivative of a constant is equals to zero. Why derivative of a constant is equals to zero? Because when we differentiate a constant with respect to a variable like dc by dx written here, so it means we want to calculate that how a constant will change with respect to a variable. Now, a constant is a uniform value, so it will not change. So the variation in constant is zero, is nil. Therefore, the derivative of a constant is zero. Now, in example number 1, they are calculating the derivative of a function, which is a constant function, f of x equals to 6, y equals to 6. So that the derivative of a constant is 0. So therefore, we will say f prime of x is equals to 0. In the solution, you can see that they have written f prime of x equals to 0. Why the derivative is 0? Because we need to calculate the derivative of a constant 6. So since 6 is constant and it does not change, so its derivative is 0. Uh, we must know that f of x equals to 6 is a horizontal line which is named as y equals to 6. Okay, now coming to rule number 2. In rule number 2, basically this rule is known as the power rule. So what we do basically, we calculate the derivative of x power n. So the derivative of x power n is n times x power n minus 1. Like in example number 2, we need to calculate the derivative of f of x equals to x power 4. So if we are to calculate the derivative of x power 4, it would be 4 times x power 4 minus 1. That is 4x cubed. This f prime of x is basically representing the derivative, while f of x is representing the particular curve or function that we need to derive or that we need to find the derivative of. Okay, so in example number 3, we need to calculate the derivative of x because f of x is equals to x. So now we can write x as x power 1. So the derivative of x power 1 would be 1 times x power 1 minus 1. That is 1 times x power 0. And since x power 0 is 1, so 1 multiplied by 1 equals to 1. So hence we deduced that the derivative of x is 1. Now if we are to calculate the derivative of 7x, it would be 7 multiplied by 1, that is 7. If we are to calculate the derivative of minus 11x, then it would be minus 11 multiplied by 1, that is minus 11. So we must be keeping this thing in mind that the derivative of a constant is 0. And if a constant is multiplied with a function, then the derivative of that function is constant time the derivative of the function. Okay, so coming to the next example, in example number 4, we need to calculate the derivative of x power 3, that is x cubed. So the derivative of x cubed is 3 times x power 3 minus 1, that is 3x squared. So that was all about the power rule. Now coming to the third rule of differentiation, which is known as constant multiple rule. If a function u of x is multiplied with a constant c, then the derivative of this function cu can be written as c times the derivative of u, that is c times du by dx. It's a very simple thing. As I told you earlier, that if we need to calculate the derivative of a function, which is basically multiplied by a constant, then what we will do, we will take constant as common, and then we will calculate the derivative of the function. Like in example number 5, we are to calculate the derivative of 6x power 4. So what we will do, we will take 6 common, and then we will calculate the derivative of x power 4. So the derivative of x power 4 is 4 times x power 4 minus 1. So it will be 4x cube. At the end, we will multiply this 4x cube with 4. So it will become 24x cube. So the conclusion is that whenever a constant is multiplied by a function, and we need to calculate the overall derivative, what we will do, we will take constant as common, we will calculate the derivative of the function, and then we will multiply the derivative with the constant. Like in example number 6, we need to calculate the derivative of 7x power 9. So since 7 is a constant, so what we will do, we will take 7 common. Some students think that since the derivative of a constant is 0, therefore 7 into x power 9 derivative must be 0. But it is not the case. Why? Because 7 is not being added to x power 9. If it would be like 7 plus x power 9, then the derivative of 7 is taken as 0. But if it is 7 times x power 9, and we need to calculate the derivative, what we will do, we will take 7 common, then we will calculate the derivative of x power 9, which is 9 times x power 9 minus 1, that is 9x power 8. Then we will multiply this 9x power 8 with 7, so it will become 63 times x power 8. So yeah, the derivative of a constant is 0, but for that purpose, the constant must either be added or to be subtracted from the polynomial, then its derivative will be 0. But if the constant is being multiplied with the function, then we will calculate the derivative of the function and then multiply it with the constant to get the overall derivative. Okay, I hope you understand this thing. Now coming to the fourth rule, that is known as the sum or the difference rule. If we are to calculate the derivative of sum of two functions that are u of x and v of x, or we are to calculate the derivative of uh, a subtraction of two functions like u of x minus v of x, then what we will do, we will calculate the derivatives of u and v separately, and at the end we will add or subtract the corresponding derivatives, whatever is the case. Okay, like in example number 6, if we are to calculate the derivative of 3x and minus 4, so we will calculate the derivative of 3x separately. It would be 3 times x power 1 minus 1, while the derivative of minus 4 will be 0. So then we will subtract 3 minus 0, and hence the answer will be 3. Okay, so if we are to calculate the derivative of a function or the derivative of a polynomial containing two or more than two terms, then what we will do, we will first calculate the derivative of the individual terms, and then we will add or subtract the derivatives, whatever the case will be. Okay, like in example number 8, if you see
सर
f of x is, yeah.
सर वो स्टूडेंट कह रहे हैं हम ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, हो नहीं रहा, सर को बोलो रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट कर लो।
Okay, there is only one such student, और उनकी भी इनविटेशन मुझे नहीं आ रही। जब ये ज्वाइन करते हैं ना, तो इनफैक्ट वो एक आता है टिक, जिस पे मैं टिक करता हूँ तो वो एंटर हो जाते हैं। लेकिन ये एक का बना हुआ तो आ रहा है, लेकिन उनका भी वो नहीं आ रहा। आप देख सकते हैं स्क्रीन पे, यहाँ पे ना इस जगह पर वो आ
यस
जाता है, तो
सर।
मैं उसको इसको मैं टिक को क्लिक करता हूँ तो वो इन हो जाता है। लेकिन ये भी अब पता नहीं आ नहीं रहा है इस बंदे का ना, एक एक का किसी का वन लिखा हुआ आ रहा है, लेकिन आप देख सकते हैं कि इधर ऑप्शन में ना, इधर आते हैं जिनको मैंने ऐड कर।
मैसेज कर रहे थे।
उनको क्या है, हो सकता है बाद वक्त इंटरनेट ठीक नहीं होता ना, तो वो वापस जाकर दोबारा से ज्वाइन करें। और दूसरी बात, मैंने जैसे बताया, आपकी क्लास है कैलकुलस एंड एनालिटिकल ज्योमेट्री फॉर 2024, उस क्लास में जाएं और वहां पर सिंपल ज्वाइन को क्लिक करेंगे तो आप ज्वाइन हो जाएंगे, और आपको कोई लॉबी में भी रुकना नहीं पड़ेगा। ठीक है, सही है। आई होप आपको ये बात समझ आ गई। आपने क्या करना होता है, अपनी क्लास में जाना होता है। जैसे आपकी क्लास का नाम है कैलकुलस एंड एनालिटिकल ज्योमेट्री फॉर 2024, व्हेन यू विल ओपन योर क्लास एंड द चैनल, you will get an icon where it will be written join, so you will click the join and hence you will be inside this meeting. Okay, तो यहाँ पर भी उनकी आ नहीं रही, मैं मेरे पास आ जाए तो मैं कर देता हूँ, कोई मसला नहीं है, वो मुझे पता भी चल जाता है जब आती है। ठीक है, so coming back to our lecture, so in example number 8, if you basically analyze this example, f of x is containing four terms. Number one, x cubed, then minus 4x squared, then 3x, and then 2. So if we are to calculate the derivative of this function, we will calculate the derivatives of each term individually, turn by turn. For example, the derivative of x cubed will be 3 times x power 3 minus 1. Similarly, for the derivative of minus 4x squared, we will take minus 4 common, and the derivative of x squared will be 2 times x power 2 minus 1. Similarly, for 3x, we will take 3 common, and the derivative of x power 1 will be 1 times x power 1 minus 1. And at the end, the derivative of constant plus 2 is 0. So now we will add all of these derivatives. So the final answer would be 3x squared minus 8x plus 3. Similarly, in example number 9, there are five terms: 6 into x power 4 minus 3x cubed plus 6x squared minus 2x plus 4. So what we will do, again we will calculate the derivative of each term turn by turn, and then we will add those derivatives to find the overall derivative of the function f of x. Let me check. So there is no one whom I can add. Okay. So again, coming to example number 9. So there are five terms that we are to differentiate. So first of all, for 6 into x power 4, we will take 6 common, and the derivative of x power 4 will be 4 times x power 4 minus 1. Similarly, for minus 3x cubed, we will take minus 3 common, and the derivative of x cubed will be 3 times x power 3 minus 1. Similarly, for 6x square, we will take 6 common, and the derivative of x square will be 2 times x power 2 minus 1. And similarly, the derivative of minus 2x will be minus 2 times x power 1 minus 1, and the derivative of plus 4 will be 0. Hence, the derivative, that is f prime of x, for this polynomial f of x will be 24x cubed minus 9x squared plus 12x minus 2. So I hope it's a very simple thing, and you already know these things from your FSC or A levels background. Still, we are revising the basic concepts related to differentiation, integration, conic section, trigonometry, to basically make you understand those concepts that are the prerequisite of electrical engineering or the prerequisite of engineering programs. Okay, so I hope you understand these things. Now coming to the fifth rule, that is known as the product rule. So what is this product rule? If we are to calculate the derivative of a product of two functions, like the first function is u of x and the second function is v of x, and we need to calculate its derivative, that is the derivative of uv. So what we will do, we will use this formula: u multiplied by the derivative of v, that is dv by dx, plus v multiplied by the derivative of u, that is du by dx. You can write this formula in the opposite manner as well. Like you can write it like uh, u prime v plus uv prime. That is, u prime means the derivative of u. So the derivative of a product uv is basically u prime v plus uv prime. Or we can write it like u time dv by dx plus v time du by dx. Both are fine, both are correct ways to calculate the derivative of a product. Now coming to example number 10. You can see there are two functions. The first is 2x plus 3, which can be taken as u, and the second is 3x minus 4, which can be taken as v. So the function f of x is the product of two functions, 2x plus 3 and 3x minus 4. That is, the function is basically u into v. Now, if we are to calculate the derivative of this function, so what we will do, we will take 2x plus 3 as it is. So we will write 2x plus 3 in place of 2x plus 3, and then we will find the derivative of 3x minus 4. So the derivative of 3x is 3 times x power 1 minus 1, while the derivative of minus 4 is 0. Now we will write plus, that is basically in the formula. Then we will calculate the derivative of u. It will be 2 times x power 1 minus 1, and the derivative of 3 will be 0. And then we will multiply this du by dx with v, which is 3x minus 4. Now it will be like 2x plus 3 multiplied by 3 plus 3x minus 4 multiplied by 2. Now, if we multiply the polynomials, so 2x multiplied by 3 is 6x and 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. Similarly, 2 multiplied by 3x is 6x and 2 multiplied by minus 4 is minus 8. So we will collect the similar terms, 6x plus 6x, it will make 12x, and then we will subtract 8 from 9, so it will give us 1. So overall, the derivative f prime of x is 12x plus 1. So this is a very simple way how to calculate the derivative of a product. We calculate the derivative of one function and we multiply it with the other function. Then we will write plus, and then we will calculate the derivative of the other function and we will multiply it with the simple first function. Okay. So again, coming to another example, which is basically example number 11. You can see there are two functions. One is 6x squared plus 3x minus 1, and other is x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. So if we are to calculate the derivative of the product of these two functions, so what we will do, we will take 6x squared plus 3x minus 1 as it is, and we will calculate the derivative of x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. So the derivative of x cube is 3 times x power 3 minus 1. Similarly, the derivative of plus 3x squared is 3 times 3, we will take 3 common, and 2 times x power 2 minus 1. Similarly, the derivative of minus 3x is minus 3 times x power 1 minus 1, and the derivative of 1 is 0. So this will be the first term, and then we will write plus of the formula, and then we will calculate the derivative of 6x squared. So the derivative of 6x squared is 6 times uh, 2 into x power 2 minus 1. The derivative of 3x will be 3 times x power 1 minus 1. The derivative of minus 1 will be 0. And hence we will multiply it with v, which is x cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. Now they wrote the function in the form of product, but it is not the final answer. You can basically multiply these two brackets to get simplified terms, and those simplified terms can be added or subtracted into some other terms that will be basically available from the other two brackets. So for the sake of simplicity, they basically uh, kept it till this step, because the user formula was shown. Okay. So what is a rule? What is the rule for product? It is very simple. If you are to differentiate uv, you will write u prime v plus uv prime. Okay, u prime v means you will find the derivative of u, you will multiply it with v, and then you will write plus, and then you will find the derivative of v and you will multiply it with u. So it's a very simple thing, and you already know these things from your FSC or A-levels background. So I hope that you understand this thing. Okay. Any difficulty, any trouble till this moment? अगर आपको कोई मसला है, कोई पूछ सकते हैं. आपको कोई चीज समझ नहीं आ रही तो आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं जी. Students, everything is clear.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, ये आपको ऑलरेडी आता है, ये उसमें कोई नई चीज नहीं है, लेकिन हम लोग सिर्फ इसलिए ये आपको बता रहे हैं ताकि आप में से कुछ लोग होते हैं जो डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं और बाजों का उनका इतना फोकस डिफरेंशिएशन इंटीग्रेशन पे नहीं होता। अब इंजीनियरिंग के स्टूडेंट्स का क्योंकि फोकस बहुत ज्यादा होता है डिफरेंशिएशन और इंटीग्रेशन पर, तो हमें ये चीज जो है ना वो क्लियर करनी पड़ती है। ठीक है कि आपको ये चीजें आती हों। ठीक है। आज वैसे क्लास की स्ट्रेंथ बहुत ही कम है, पता नहीं क्यों। खैर, coming back to the slides, now this is the last rule of today's class, which is known as the quotient rule. What is quotient rule? If we are to find the derivative of a fraction that is u upon v, so how we will calculate the derivative of this fraction? So it will be u prime v minus uv prime whole divided by v squared. That is, we will find the derivative of u, that is du by dx. We will multiply it with v. Then we will write minus of the formula, and we will calculate the derivative of v, that is dv by dx, and we will multiply it with u. So this will be the numerator of the answer, and then the denominator will be the square of the denominator of the fraction. That is, it will be v squared. So this rule is known as the quotient rule. So if we are to differentiate a function which is in the form of a fraction, so what we will do, we will find the derivative of the numerator, we will multiply it with the denominator v, then we will calculate the derivative of the denominator, that is dv by dx, and we will multiply it with the numerator u. The two things will be subtracted from each other, and then the denominator will be the square of the denominator of the original function, that is v square. Okay. So coming to example 12, so that we can practice this rule. So here we are to calculate the derivative of x square minus 3x whole divided by 2x plus 4. So the numerator of the fraction is x square minus 3x. We will take it like u, and the denominator of the function is 2x plus 4. So we will keep it like v. So first of all, we will calculate the derivative of the numerator, x square minus 3x. So the derivative of x square will be 2 times x power 2 minus 1. Similarly, the derivative of minus 3x will be minus 3 is common and x power 1 minus 1. So we will multiply this thing with the denominator v, that is 2x plus 4. Now we will write minus of the formula. Then we will simply write u, that is x square minus 3x, and we will multiply it with the derivative of denominator, that is the derivative of 2x plus 4. So the derivative of 2x is 2 times x power 1 minus 1, and the derivative of 4 is 0. So hence we got 2x plus 4 multiplied by 2x minus 3 minus x square minus 3x multiplied by 2. So then we will divide the numerator with the square of the denominator, that is 3. So it will be 2x plus 4 whole square. Okay. Now again we can simplify these terms, and then we can add or subtract the corresponding terms. But they left this thing for you because the purpose of this example is to make you understand the quotient rule. So the rest of the simplifications you can do yourself by yourself. Okay. Coming to example number 13. Here the independent variable is not x, uh, rather it is t this time. Okay. So, but the function is again a fraction where u of t is t plus 1 and v of t is t square minus 3t plus 6. So if we are to calculate the derivative of this fraction, again what we will do, we will take uh, basically we will take t square minus 3t plus 6 as it is, and we will calculate the derivative of t plus 1, which will be 1 times t power 1 minus 1 plus 0, because the derivative of 1 is 0. Then we will write minus of the formula. We will keep t plus 1 as it is, and we will multiply it with the derivative of the denominator. So the denominator is t square minus 3t plus 6. So it will be 2 times t power 2 minus 1 minus 3 times t power 1 minus 1, and the derivative of 6 is 0, so it will be a 0. Then we will simplify the numerator, and hence we will get the final answer. And obviously we will divide with the v square. and v of t is t square minus 3t plus 6. So we will divide the numerator with t square minus 3t plus 6 whole square, because the formula says that the derivative of a fraction is u prime v minus u v prime whole divided by v square. So since v was t square minus 3t plus 6, so we will divide it with t square minus 3t plus 6 whole square. Now again we can simplify the corresponding terms and we can have a simpler version of the answer, but this thing is left for your practice. Okay. Now coming to the last example of today's lecture, it is basically to calculate the derivative of a function y equals to 1 over uh, x squared minus 1 multiplied by x squared plus x plus 1. So here, if you concentrate on this example, we need to find the derivative of a fraction as well. And in the denominator, uh, it is in the form of product. So we need to apply the product formula as well, and we need to apply the uh, fraction formula or u upon v formula as well. So we will start with the quotient rule, that we will calculate the derivative of 1, it will be 0, and we will multiply it with the denominator, that is x square minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1. So in the
सर
next page, yeah, G.
सर काफी बच्चे ज्वाइन करना चाह रहे हैं, ज्वाइन नहीं हो रहा उनसे क्लास।
अ, देखिए मेरे पास जो ज्वाइन करने के लिए कोशिश करता है ना, उसका टिक आ जाता है, उसको मैं ऐड कर लेता हूँ। लेकिन यहाँ पर देख लें, आपके सामने ही स्क्रीन हुई हुई है, यहाँ पर कोई टिक नहीं आ रहा। ठीक है, और वो अगर टिक आ जाता तो मैं कर लेता हूँ। अब उनका कोई अपना इंटरनेट का इशू हो सकता है। देखिए ना, मेरे पास जो जो ज्वाइन करता आता है लॉबी में, जो आता है बंदा, तो उसके लिए मेरे पास ऑप्शन आता है कि एक बंदा लॉबी में आ गया, उसको आप इन कर लें। यहाँ पर मैं सिर्फ उसको क्लिक करता हूँ, टिक करके ऑन आ जाता है। लेकिन वो ऐसा कोई भी अभी नहीं है मेरे पास, देख रहे हैं। तो वो जो ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे, वो मुझे लगता है अपने इंटरनेट की खराबी की वजह से ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे। अगर वो यहाँ आ जाते तो मैंने तो सिर्फ एक टिक करना था और वो अंदर आ जाते। ठीक है, तो आप क्या कह सकते हैं, इसको जरा उनको खुद देखना है। ठीक है, और दूसरी बात, मैंने जो तरीका बताया कि अपनी क्लास में जाएं, वहां पर ज्वाइन का लिंक है, उसको ज्वाइन करें तो सिंपल हो जाएगा। लिंक से भी हो जाता है। अच्छा, जो लोग लिंक से ज्वाइन करते हैं उनको मुझे करना पड़ता है बहुत वक्त यहाँ से, लेकिन यहाँ पे कोई है ही नहीं मेरे पास रिक्वेस्ट के जिसको मैं यस करूँ। ठीक है ना, रिक्वेस्ट होती तो मैं यहाँ पे कर लेता, कोई मसला नहीं। ठीक है, तो उनका कुछ इंटरनेट का मसला हो सकता है। ठीक है, अच्छा जी, अब आते हैं हम इस चीज पे दोबारा वापस, कि ये जो हम सवाल करने जा रहे हैं, इट इज a relatively difficult question. Why? Because we need to apply the quotient rule and the product rule simultaneously. So I was telling you that if we take one as u of x and these two brackets as v of x, so we will keep these two brackets as it is, like here, and the derivative of one is 0. So this whole term will become 0, because it is v into u prime. So since u was 1, so the derivative of 1 was 0. So v into 0 is basically 0. So this will be basically discarded, because it will become 0. Now for the next term, we will write minus. We will keep u, that is 1, as it is, and we will find the derivative of x squared minus 1 into x squared plus x plus 1. Now this is a product. So to find the derivative of x squared minus 1 into x squared plus x plus 1, we will apply the product rule. So we will keep x squared plus x plus 1 as it is, and we will find the derivative of x squared minus 1, which will be 2 times x power 2 minus 1 minus 0. We will write plus, and then we will find the derivative of uh, x squared plus x plus 1, which will be 2 times x power 2 minus 1 plus 1 time x power 1 minus 1 plus 0, and we will keep x squared minus 1 as it is. And in the denominator, we will basically write the square of v, so it will be like x squared minus 1 multiplied by x squared plus x plus 1 whole square. So here you can see that we are using the product rule here, and we are overall applying a quotient rule, because the function was 1 upon bracket of x square minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1. Okay, so this is a bit difficult question, but we seldom basically set a very difficult question for examination purpose, because exams are taken for limited time, and if we are giving most difficult questions in those exams, so it will not be easily possible for the students to complete their exam at within time. So therefore, generally, we basically set up a midterm exam that is of the average difficulty level, so that the students can complete their exam within the allowed time. Okay, so nothing to worry about. So if there is any query, if you want to ask any question regarding today's lecture, I am there to answer it. Okay जी स्टूडेंट्स, कोई सवाल जो अभी तक आपको समझ ना आया हो? एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर? जी
यस
स्टूडेंट्स,
सर। यस
ओके
सर।
इट्स गुड। अब फिर हम अब रिकॉर्डिंग अपनी जो है वो क्लोज करते हैं, और उसके बाद हम अटेंडेंस लेते हैं, और फिर आपसे डिस्कस करते हैं कि जो इतने सारे बच्चे आज नहीं आए, ये क्यों नहीं आए। ठीक है,
सर
चलें।
कितने ही बच्चे बैठे हैं जिनसे ज्वाइन नहीं हो रहा, वो कह रहे हैं कि सर एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे।
नहीं नहीं,
पता नहीं
मेरे
क्या
पास तो
इशू आ
आपके
रहा है।
साथ देखिए, मैंने आपके
किसी का
सामने
भी नहीं आ
ओपन
रहा।
करके दिखा दिया, यहीं पर आती है, जिसकी भी रिक्वेस्ट आती है
अरे
ना,
जो
वो यहीं
नीचे
पर आती
सजेशंस में आ रहे हैं,
है। नहीं नहीं, इधर नहीं है, कहीं भी नहीं है, देखिए ना,
नीचे
सजेशन में
सजेशंस
भी
में जो
नहीं है।
है,
देखिए सजेशन में
ये जो
रिक्वेस्ट टू ज्वाइन, ये तो मैं इनको रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि आप ज्वाइन कर लें। ठीक है, ओके।
ओके ओके।
जो जो आते हैं ना, उनका यहाँ पे आता है टिक और क्रॉस, और यहाँ पे मैं क्लिक कर लेता हूँ। ओके, चलिए अभी बात करते हैं इस पर। ठीक है, तो सिंस देयर आर नो क्वेश्चन, so I am considering that you understood everything. So inshallah we'll meet you in the next class. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.